Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shrunuyam Deva Bhadram Pashe Makshabhir Yajatra Sthirai Rangai Stuštavansas Tanubhi Vyashema Deva Hitam Yadayuh Swastina Indro Vruddashrava Swastina Pusha Vishwaveda Swastina Starksho Arishtanemi Swastino Brahaspatir Dadhatu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are studying Muṇḍaka Upanishad from the Atharva Vedas with Shankara's commentary. And in the last section, that is second section of third Muṇḍaka, that day we read up to 7 mantras. And the running context is the glorious life and death of the Brahmagya Purush. And we have seen in the last mantra, it seemed to be very important, that Gata Kala Panchadasha Pratishtha Devascha Sarve Pratidevatasu Karmani Vijnanamayascha Atma Pare Avyaye Sarve Eki Bhavanti. We know that Kalas are 16, counting from the phases of the moon, Pratipada to Purnima and Amavasya. Accordingly, the expression of Brahma in this world is described in 16 phases. And here it mentions Panchadasha Pratikala. So one is missing, and that we get in the third line, Karmani, because Karma is a Kala. And Pratishtha, Shankaracharya says, is Dvitiya Bahuvachan. That means Kala Pratishtham Gachanti. Actually, it is Pratishtha, but for explanation I am telling, if it would be singular, it would be Pratishtham Gata. So the Kalas go back to their bases. And then Deva or the Indriyas, they go back to their cosmic counterparts. And Karma, along with Vijnanamaya Atma, which people generally know as Vijnanamaya Kosh. But the Taittiriya Upanishad calls it Atma. And when we know that it is not a real self, the real self is within that, then it becomes a kosha. So, Vijnanamaya Atma is what we generally call the Jiva, high consciousness. This is Jiva who transmigrates. Here, he cannot transmigrate because he has known his real nature. So, it becomes one with the reality. Pare Avyaye, that unchanging reality beyond everything. In that, Vijnanamaya Atma and Karma. So Karma always sticks to the I consciousness. So I consciousness along with Karma, or Karma along with I consciousness becomes one with the aware reality beyond. Survey, all the karmas along with the I consciousness becomes one with the reality beyond. Up till that we have seen. Now, an example is given to understand actually what happens to the person who drops his body at that point. So we come to mantra 8. Yatha nadya sandamana samudre astam gachanti namarupe vihaya tatha vidwan namarupad vimuktaha parat param purushamupaiti divyam. In the example, there are rivers What are rivers? Water. But with a particular name. This is Ganges, this is Yamuna. So, waters with names and their own forms, which is changing continuously. So, rivers actually means waters with particular names and forms. And when they end themselves in the ocean, of course I talked of Yamuna. Yamuna dissolves in Ganga. But these rivers which go into the ocean, astam gacchanti, like sun setting, they set themselves in the ocean. What happens? Nama rupe vihaya. They give up their names and forms. Water is water. Water is water. But it was called Ganges water. Now you cannot find that. It is ocean water now. So, the names and the particular forms you cannot find that. Otherwise, what has happened? Nothing more has happened to the water. It has ended its names and forms. Nadya, rivers. So, from all sides, rivers are coming and losing their names and forms. They are becoming one with the ocean. Similarly, Tatha, Vidwan, one who has realized his own real nature, is called Vidwan, not a scholar. Namarupa Vimukta. Now, because of that body and mind, he had a name and that for form. Now, you cannot find that name. You cannot find that form. Otherwise, he is what he was. Because while living itself, he had become mukta. Living itself, he had lost his eye consciousness. But we used to see him in that body, in that form. And now, that is what is gone. So, no change in the consciousness of the Brahmagya Purush at the point of death. Rather, it is seen in practical life that we see signs of great joy, great thrill when he passes away. The whole body, because he enters into samadhi, which is blissful, so the whole body shows signs of thrill, tremendous thrill. And then the prana does not go anywhere. The prana does not transmigrate. It neither goes to any locus. Then what happens? The name and the form is gone. People, we remember the name eternally. But that particular name and form attached to that body and mind is gone. Otherwise, nothing has happened. Tatha vidvan nama rupad vimukta. He has become free from that name and form. Parat param purusham. Parat param. That means in the metaphysics, beyond Indriyas is the mind, beyond mind is the buddhi, beyond buddhi is the mahat, and beyond mahat is the avyakta. That is parat. Avyakta is the beyond everything in the world, but beyond that is the Purusha. So parat param Purusham. Purusham Purishayanat Purnatvatva. He was all pervading and he was perfect. That Purusham Upaiti. Upaiti means goes very near, merges. Divyam, that Purusha is Divyam because only consciousness. So because of consciousness, the Purusha is always shining. Divya Bhavam, not in this world. So there the Vidwan goes into that Purusha. So that is the example given for us to understand what has happened now. What has happened to the Purusha? We do not see its prana going anywhere. It has simply stopped. I think I closed it. So, that is what has happened. Shankar says, Kimcha yatha nadyo gangadyaha, Ganga and others, spandama, shandamana, flowing. Flowing. Shandamana means flowing. Shankar says, shandamana gacchantya, going. Shandamana means flowing. That means going. Samudre, samudram prapya. So when they come to the ocean, how it happened? So, samudram prapya, astam adarshanam. So they have not gone anywhere. They have said means we do not see it now. Gone beyond our pale of perception. That is what has happened. Adarshanam avisheshatma bhavam. Avishesha atma bhavam. That means they were seen by us as a particular entity. That is gone. What is gone is our perception of those people as particularized entities. That is gone. As special somebody, that is gone. Avishesha atma bhavam gachanti. Gachanti means prapnuvanti. They go means they get, approach, they reach. Prapnuvanti means they reach. Namacha rupam cha nama rupe vihaya hitva. So they have given up name and form. Tatha avidya kruta nama rupad vimukta. Tatha means like that, Purusha, no, Vidwan. As the rivers have gone, like that, the man of knowledge, why he had a name and a form? Due to our wrong consciousness. Due to, if there was wrong consciousness in him, due to that. And our wrong consciousness that he is a particular person. So, avidya kruta nama rupa. So, name, his parents gave him a name, or his guru gave him a name. So, that is only an appearance. And the form is ever changing. Vimukta, son, having become freed from his side, is now free. With that name and that form, Vidwan. That means he has got the knowledge now. Parad, Aksharat, Purvoktat, Param. Purvoktat, Aksharat. That means that Maya or that avyakta form which was unchanging seed of the changing universe. So, avyaktat, aksharat, para. Beyond that, divyam purusham. The Purusha, the heavenly Purusha, not heaven, but the divine Purusha, the consciousness, yathokta lakshanam, about whom we have described always. Upaiti upagachyati. So they go near him, merge in him. Now, one of the most important statements of Muṇḍaka Upanishad is being given. Famous Sa yoha vai tat paramam brahma veda brahmayeva bhavati na asya abrahmavid kule bhavati tarati shokam tarati papmanam guha grantibhyo vimukto amruto bhavati. Sa yoha vai, he whomsoever he may be. Sa yoha vai. Ha is prasiddhi. Vai means definitely, nishyatmak. Sa yo means whoever he may be. Paramam Brahma Veda. But he has realized the supreme Brahman. Because Brahman is Sagun. That realization will not do. When the Nirgun Sagun Brahma, not only Nirgun, Parat Param. So, that is Supreme Brahman. Supreme Brahman means both Nirgun Sagun aspect of Brahman. Veda means realizes, knows. He becomes Brahman itself. So we are all nothing but Brahman, not parts of Brahman. No individual beings. Our real nature is that very Brahman. But we did not know it. Our consciousness was different. So now, if anyone knows it, then what happens? Brahma eva bhavati. That Brahman directly, or Brahman alone, nothing else, he becomes. So the direct statement that the man of realization is nothing other than Brahman. So no question of his death or this or that or whether he will come back or not come back. Then to make it emphatic, he says, even in his kula. Kula means lineage. Now it can have two meanings. Na asya abrahmavid kule bhavati. In his lineage, there is nobody who will not realize Brahman. If there is a man of knowledge, then in his lineage also, there will be nobody who will not know Brahman. Now this lineage, normally people think progeny, his son, son, and like that. Now if you take that meaning, the meaning will be that he might have sons before that lineage. Okay? But actually, here lineage means his lineage of disciples. That is the meaning. Kule means lineage of disciples. So, if he is Brahmajna, his disciples also will become men of knowledge. So, this is to emphasize his becoming absolutely Brahman, that even in his lineage, no non-knower of Brahman will be born. Then, what has happened to him? What has happened? Tarati shokam. Shoka. What is shoka? Shoka, sorrow. What is that? The feeling of gap between the subject and object is the cause of shock. A man may be billionaire, trillionaire, or whatever it may be, but he has not become that money. He is always a subject surrounded by the objects. And this produces a continuous tension of sorrow in that man. Why otherwise greed? Why he wants more? Why is never satisfied? Similarly, women, man to woman, woman to man. Suppose they marry, suppose they get many women, but he does not become the woman, and so always anxiety is there. This gap is called shok. Any possessions we may possess, but the gap between the subject and object is the curse of human life in ignorance. That shokam is compared to an ocean, and so he has crossed that. The first point is that there is no possibility now of, in his consciousness, of any gap remaining. In the world, in the contrast, it is said, a Marathi line I am telling, मरक्या गुरुचा रडका चेला. दोहीचा बोध वाया गेला. That means the Guru says, oh, now I am dying. And the disciples are weeping. So the consciousness of both of them has gone waste. When my teacher passed away, a remarkable thing happened, remarkable. We all felt joy. Nobody wept. That was wonderful something, unexpected something. So, what about him? He has gone beyond the gap, subject and object. Tarati shokam. Tarati papmanam. Now, when a subject is there, an individual subject is there, he has ego. Then, even if he does punya karmas, it is a papa, because it is against his real nature. You know a beautiful expression. Wherever papa comes, Shankar says punya also. For that, the Marathi saint Ganeshwar has a most beautiful expression. पुण्यात्मके पापे स्वर्गा जाईजे, पापात्मके पापे नरका जाईजे. पुण्यात्मके पापे स्वर्गा जाईजे, पापात्मके पापे नरका जाईजे. Punyatmaka pap. By that the people go to Sarga. Papatmaka pap. By that people go to Narak. Both are papas. So, tarate shokam, tarate papmanam. So he has gone beyond punya and pap. There is nothing punya and pap in his life. Guha grantibhyo vimukto. Guha is our heart. And Guha granthi, if singular, it means that wrong knowledge has like a rope, string, tied the consciousness to matter. Avidya granthi. But here it says knots, granthi bhyo. So this one knot of wrong knowledge, what does it do? It produces several complexes in life. A man, ordinary man, suffers from how many complexes? Superiority complex, inferiority complex, caste complex, learned, non-learned complex, Color of the body complex. These are all complexes due to that one complex knot. So, if you actually take a rope and put a knot on it, then you will find it will go on involving itself and you will find so many knots. And these knots are not easy to open. If you try to open, they will make more knots. So people say, cut the Gordian knot. That means you have to cut all of them. Or, if you get knowledge, I will tell you a funny story. 78, 79. The famous ashram in Rishikesh, Kailash ashram. They had a huge bell. And to stroke that bell, they had a very big, stout, long rope. And a person had the duty. So after he had knocked, he would tie that rope in a particular way. And when the time came, he would just give a pull and stroke it. Others did not know that. No wonder he was absent at the time. So people, they are trying here, pulling there, and it is getting more and more complex. Then the man means the second in command sannyasi. He was known to be most impractical person because he knew only knowledge. So he came and he looked at it for some time and just gave a pull and the whole knot came out. So all the granthis gone by knowledge. Vimukto amruta bhavati, he was already immortal. So when he gave up the body, he is immortal. He is not to be born again, is the meaning. So Shankara has a big introductory commentary on this. Nano shreyasi aneke vignaha. This is a famous thing in experience of man. That the better the thing you are going to get, the more obstacles you will have. Shreyasi aneke vigna. Prasiddha. This is famous. Ata kleshanam anyatamena. Pancha kleshas. Avidya, asmita, ragadvesh, abhinivesh. One of them may obstruct your becoming mukta. You got knowledge, but something may come and obstruct. Annenava devadina, or some god comes and obstructs. You know, when people do tapasya, Indra sends some apsara, this or that. Because the man is desiring Indra pad, so Indra becomes afraid. But he is going to become the self of all. Nobody can obstruct him. So, something may come, some god may come. Cha vignato brahmavid api anyam gati mruto gacchati na brahmaiva. So, Brahma knowledge, he has got Brahmagya. But after death, he may not reach Brahman. He may be obstructed. Some other gati he may get. This chance comes to our mind. No, he said that is not correct. Vidya eva sarva pratibandhasya apanitatvat. His knowledge itself has removed all possible obstacles. Avidya pratibandha matra moksha. Our freedom is obstructed only by our wrong knowledge. There is no other obstruction. This and that is not my obstruction. Obstruction is my wrong knowledge. Nityatvad, because freedom is my eternal nature. Atma bhutatvacha. Nitya means it is permanent. Atma bhut means it is my own real nature. That is freedom. Tasmat, therefore, sa yak kaschit, or whosoever, no question of Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, man, woman, child, old man, young man, sannyasi, grahastha. If he is Brahmajna, he will become Brahman. That is the only thing. Yak kaschit vai loke, in this world, tat paramam Brahma Veda, knows that Supreme Brahman, and knowing Supreme Brahman is never like an object. So Sakshat Ahameva Asmi iti. Sakshat Veda knows directly that I am that I am. Sa na anyam gatim gacchati. He will not go anywhere else. Devairapi tasya Brahma praptim prati vigno na shakyate kartum. Gods even cannot obstruct his becoming Brahman. Atma yesham sabhavati. He is becoming their self. So how they can obstruct him? Tasmad Brahma Vidwan Brahma Iva Bhavati. So one who knows Brahman will become Brahman only. Kimcha Nasya Vidusha Brahmavid Kule Bhavati. Kimcha, in addition, in his lineage, no non-knower of Brahman is born. Shankar does not further comment on that. Kimcha, and moreover, Tarati Shokam, Aneka Ishta Vaikalya Nimittam Manasam Santapam. Ishta Vaikalya. Ishta means desired. Okay. Vaikalya. Vaikalya means Vikalata. Kala means part. So we have several parts. Now if some part has gone, then we are Vikala. Okay? So, Shokam is telling. Huh? Ishta Vaikalya Nimittam Manasam Santapam. No man has money, that may go. Some part of the body may get cut. So, Vaikalya, Ishta Vaikalya. Desired thing gone. Then, due to this, in the mind there is heat, Santapam, anxiety, Shoka. That is called Shoka. Jivan eva atikranto bhavati. While loving itself, he has gone beyond that. Tarati papmanam dharma dharmakyam. So, pap means punya and pap both. Gva grantibhyo, hridaya avidya grantibhyo vimukta san. So, avidya granthis, Shankar says, I have explained just now, complexes. They have vimukta san, having been freed from that, amruta bhavati iti yuktameva. Bhavati iti uktameva. How it is? Bhavati iti uktameva. No, it is yuktameva or uktameva. Oh, uktameva. Vidyate hridaya granthi was told, Chidyante sarva sanshaya, that itself is now granthi bhyo vimukta. Now, we have flown to the skies. While listening to these descriptions, we are not ourselves, we are gone there. So now the Upanishad pulls us down. And remember how he has come there. How he started. This is the fun of Upanishads. They generally tell about the goal and then the means. Because the means are derived from the goal itself. So now, the last two mantras have a different topic. How he came here. What are the essential things? Two mantras for that. Kriyavantaha, Shrotriya Brahmanishta, Swayam juvate ekarshim shraddayantah tesham eva esham brahma vidyam vadet shirovratam vidivad yaistu chiranam kriyavanta. So through proper karma they have come to you. And Shrotriya, that means they have heard Vedas before. They have heard Vedas before. And because of that, they have become Brahmanishtas. Understood? Because they have heard Vedas, in the Muṇḍaka Upanishad, in the end of the first Mundaka, it was told, Pariksha Lokan Karma Chetan. So, after thoroughly mastering the Vedas, what they understood? We have to become devoted to Brahman only. That is the learning lesson. Let me joke, not PhDs. The purpose of learning Vedas is that you come to know that the only thing in life is to realize Brahman. We see this in life. Shankaracharya was a genius. At the age of 5, he was sent to school. By the age of 8, he finished studying all the Vedas. And he was invited by the kings in Kerala to be their Sabha Pandit. But he knew that the only aim of life is to realize Brahman. And that requires a guru. And by some spiritual law, the idea came in his mind that his guru is near, in Omkareshwar, near Narmada river. So from Kerala, this boy walked off. Crossing hills and dales and forest, he reached Omkareshwar. So, that is what Shrotriya Brahmanishta means. Devoted to Brahman alone is the result of having learning. Another example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is famous incarnation. His elder brother Vishwambar, as soon as he finished his education, he left home and went to forest. Because of which his father stopped Chaitanya from going to school. So the real result of education is this. Mind you, toward the end we are getting this. Kriyavanta, Shrotriya, Brahmanishta. So learned people become devoted to Brahman. Then when they come to the Guru, we know that we have to perform Virja Home. Then we are admitted as sannyasi and then we are taught Vedanta. So in those days, there was some fire sacrifice called Ekarshi. Ekarshi is the name of a fire sacrifice which these people, belonging to Atharva Veda, used to do. So that also he has done himself, not that getting somebody to do. Swayam Jugvate Ekarshim Shraddayanta. And they are full of Shraddha that from my Guru I will get my knowledge. To such people only, the Guru should talk about Brahman. So fitness or adhikar is described in this way. When you have done your kriya, when you have learned the Vedas, when you have become devoted to Brahman alone, you have gone to the Guru, performed the required sacrifice. To such people alone, the Guru should speak of Brahma Vidya. One more thing. This also is like Virja Home. And it was very typical of the Atharva Vedas. Now, how it is and what it is, you have to add a little imagination. Carrying fire on their head. That was the vow they had to take. Now, carrying fire, maybe they have to keep a pot with burning embers or what. But Shirovratam Vidivad Yastu Chirnam. Chirnam is completed. Shirovratam Vidivat, according to the prescribed mode. They have completed Shirovrat. So Shirovrat means carrying fire on the head. Such was the test. And then only the Guru should teach him Brahma. Now, we have started online classes. Anybody in the world can listen. But who will benefit from that? That is the question. So, Atha idanim Brahma Vidya Sampradayana Vidhi Upapradarshanena Upasamhara Kriyate. Now, conclusion of the Upanishad is being done through Vidhi Upapradarshanena. Upapradarshan means showing, telling the method of handing over Vidya to the other, Sampradana. Vidya is being handed over by the Guru to the Shishya. Under what methods, under what prescribed methods. That is telling that the conclusion is being done for the Upanishad. And we forgot one line. Tadetad rucha bhiyuktam. That means for that, they have brought an ancient mantra. So it shows tradition. In the beginning, we were told Brahma taught it to Atharva and he to Angi and then Shaunaka. And there it was mentioned that Shaunaka has Vidhivat gone. So we should Vidhivat go. So here he says there is an ancient saying on this. So the mantra which we read now is preceded by Tadetad Richa Bhiyuktam. Now Richa need not be from Rigveda. Richa means some old Rishi telling. Tadetad Vidya Sampradana Vidhanam Rucha means mantrena. Abhyuktam Abhiprakashitam. Means somebody has told, means somebody has revealed this. Eternal knowledge, somebody has revealed this. Kriyavanto Yathokta Karmanushtana Yukta. Yathokta. When Shrutis or our elders tell us to do something, we are doing that exactly. That is Yathokta Karma Nushtana Yukta. Shrotriya Brahmanishta. Shrotriya means learned. Shankar explains Brahmanishta as Aparasmin Brahmani Abhayukta Parabrahma Bhutsava. Very important statement, very important statement. People do not know this. Shankar is explaining. Sri Ramakrishna has shown this. We must first worship the Saguna Brahman. And then we hanker for Nirguna. So people do not know. They start talking of Nirguna Brahma. Sri Ramakrishna, as soon as Totapuri told him, he sat and he saw the universal mother. And he had made it that his habit. And from there he lifted his mind and went into Nirguna. Why? Because for us, that is the teaching. And that is what Shankar mentions here. Aparasmin Brahmani Abhiyukta. They are already joined to Apara Brahma, Sagun Brahma, lower Brahma. Para Brahma, Bhuvutsa. Bhuvutsa means they have become hungry to get at the real absolute Brahman. Understood? So this small clause is very important. Through Sagun at Sakar or Nirakar. Through personal God, you approach the impersonal. They have already, while learning the Vedas, they have become nishtha, steadfast in some personal aspect of God. And now they want to go to the transcendent Brahman. This is Brahmanistha. Swayam ekarshi namanam agni juvate, juvati shraddayanta shraddadana santa. So ekarshi is the name of a fire sacrifice, and they themselves have done that. Ye tesham eva sanskritatmanam patrabhutanam. So meaning of all this is those who have purified themselves and they have become fit, patrabhutanam. They have purified themselves and they have become fit. Patrabhutanam etam. Such people. Brahma vidyam vadayet. Vadayata bruyat. Brahma vidya should be told. Shirovratam, shirasya agni dharana lakshanam yatha atharvananam vedavratam prasiddham yaistu yaischa tatchirnam vidivad yatha vidanam tesham evacha. And also to those alone who have completed the vrata which is famous in the Atharva Vedic people of carrying fire on the head. Okay? Now, tadetad rucha bhi yuktam. Rucha bhi. That means not one, two. Tadetad satyam rushir angira purovacha naitad achirna vrato adhite namah parama rishibhyo namah parama rishibhya. Tadetad satyam, how many times it has come? About karma it was said, tadetad satyam. That if you do this work, you are sure to get the result. Then about Brahman, it was told Tadetat Satyam. And Shankara had said that that is the relative truth, this is absolute truth. That has come back now. Tadetat Satyam means this whole process is true. And connected in the beginning, the whole thing was told by Angiras Rishi to Shaunaka. Shaunaka was a great householder. He went to Angira and asked him, what is that by knowing which everything is known? From there we started. So he's reminding us from where it started. Search for unity. He had already felt that there is a common reality. But how to know that common reality? For that he had asked. And his teacher told him knowing itself is of two types. The lower knowing is subject knowing the object. And the real knowing is the man knowing his own real nature. That is very different. So from all that is we are reminded of now. Angira Pura, in the olden times, Angira said, Naita Dachirnavato Adhite. There we are told that those who have not done that vrata, to them it should not be told. Now from this side, one who has not done vrata does not study this. Now we have all studying. Now Swami Vivekananda said, Vedanta of the forest can be brought to home. So whatever we understand of this will be very useful to us. So we have studied. Then end. Namah Parama Rishibhyo, plural. That means this lineage you have to remember. In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, after the knowledge is described, 50 names are given. He learned from him, he learned from him, like that. So, we should have salutation in our mind to our Guru, his Guru, right up to incarnation. Parameshti Swayambhu, Brahma Swayambhu. So, and twice, because more respect, and because the Upanishad has ended. So that was the full stop. Nama Parama Rishibhyo, Nama Parama Rishibhyo. He has filled the atmosphere with a great sentiment now, at the end. Tadaitat Aksharam Purusham Satyam. So what is true? Akshara Purush is true. Rishi Rangira Nama Pura Purvam Shaunakaya Vidyod Upasannaya Prushtavate Uvacha. So Shaunak had duly approached him and asked him, then only he was told. Tadvad Anyopi, Tathaiva, Shreyarthino Mumukshave Mokshartham Vidivad Upasannaya Bruyaditi Artha. So the implication is that other gurus also, if some disciple comes to you for moksha and he has properly come to you, then you should tell him. Implication. Naitat Grantha Rupam, that means that which is contained in this book. Achirna Vrato, Acharita Vrato, one who has not completed that, api adhite na patati. He does not read this grantha. Chirna Vratasya vidya phalaya sanskrita bhavati iti. So the result is produced only in a person who has undergone that vow. Sanskrita, that means impression of that vidya comes to him. Yes. Sanskrita means impression of that vidya comes to him and he gets the result. Phalaya. Samapta Brahma Vidya. So, Brahma Vidya has been completed. Sa yebhyo Brahmadibhyo parampare kramena samprapta. Brahma gave to Atharva, Atharva gave to Angi, Angi gave to Bharadwaj, Bharadwaj gave to Angira, and from him Shaunaka got. So all these great people of this lineage. Brahma Dibya Parampare Kramena Samprapta Tebhyo Nama Paramarishibhyo. Paramarishi means Paramam Brahma Sakshat Drishtavanto Ye Brahmadaya. Rishis Darshanat. So any spiritual truth seen is a Rishi. Devata Darshan is a Rishi. So to distinguish them from the Brahmagya Rishi, Parama is added. Parama Rishi means Paramam Brahma Sakshat Drishtavanto Ye Brahmadayo Avagatavantascha. They realized it. Te Parama Rishaya Tebhyo Bhuyopi Namaha. So again and again, salutation to them. Again and again. Dvirvachanam Attaradharartham Mundaka Samaptartham cha. Second time told because great respect we have to show and because the Mundaka has ended. So, the announcement will follow. But I'll tell now itself, from the next Wednesday, we shall take up the study of Prashna Upanishad, which we have been telling is the sequel to this Muṇḍaka Upanishad. So from next Wednesday, Prashna Upanishad with Shankar Bhashya, and the university will make the proper announcement and send the circular to all of you. Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shrunuyama Deva Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatra Sthirairangai Stuštavansastanovi Vashema Deva Hitam Yadayuh Swasti na Indro Vruddashrava Swasti na Pusha Vishwaveda Swasti na Starksho Varishtanemi Swasti no Brahaspatir Dadhatu Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.